West Bengal, and then at the Narottam Nagar, Arunachal Pradesh, at Advaita Ashram. Arunachal, sorry, let me just repeat that. And then at Narottam Nagar, Arunachal Pradesh, then Advaita Ashram, Kolkata, and Advaita Ashram, Mayapur. He returned to the United States in 2008, served at the Vedanta Center of Greater Washington, D.C., and since then, since 2013, has been serving at the Vedanta Society of Southern California. And he has visited us many times, especially in 2022, he was here for quite a while, and we hope he can come like that for 3-4 weeks at a time. So that is Mahayogananda.
Om Tadekam Smaramasthadekam Bhajamaha Tadekam Jagat Sakshi Rupam Namama Sadekam Nidhanam Niralam Amisham Bhavam Bodhipotam Sharanyam Rajamaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. On that alone do we meditate. That alone do we worship. To that alone, the witness of the universe, do we bow. To that one who is our sole eternal support, the self-existent Lord, the raft to safety across the ocean of this world, do we come for refuge. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning. Always a joy to come and spend some time in Houston with all of you, the sincere seekers of the divine. And thank you, Madhura, for the beautiful opening song. 3 weeks ago was Ram Navami, so I'm carrying that till today a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about Rama. So I asked for a song on Rama. And what a beautiful song of welcoming Rama after his exile. Can you imagine all the denizens of Ayodhya, and they've been waiting 14 long years for Rama to come back. And finally he's coming back. And so with what joy they are expressing their reverence and their joyous welcome for their beloved Rama who is coming back amongst them. And that's really a model of our spiritual life too, because what is our spiritual life? It is cultivating that longing for the divine. Sri Ramakrishna says that is the essential ingredient in spiritual life, is to long for God. If we have longing for God, we'll reach God. If we don't have longing, we're not much interested in you, then God also says, all right, you're happy with your things. But when we start to long, when we add longing to our practice, then we make quick progress, and then we get the opportunity to sing the welcome song to Sri Rama. In the worship service that we do, we also have this same tradition of offering welcome. The very first thing we do when we in the puja, we invoke the presence of, and of course we're worshipping Ramakrishna, we invoke the presence of Sri Ramakrishna here, and first we offer him a seat, and then we say, welcome, Lord, welcome, welcome. That the mantra expresses this idea that I have, my life is now fulfilled because I see you and I welcome you, that this represents the fulfillment of my life to welcome the arrival of the Lord. So, Sri Rama is, we can say, the very embodiment of dharma, of righteousness. And there's a beautiful verse that we sing in the Ram Nam, when we gather, most of you have probably sung the Ram Nam, and the beautiful verse which comes at the beginning, composed by Tulsidas. Though he wrote his Ramcharitmanas in Avadhi, but he wrote some Sanskrit verses also interspersed, and this is one of those Sanskrit verses. Om Mulam Dharmatarur Viveka Jaladhi Purnendumanandadam Vairagyam Bhujabhaskaram Yaghagana Dhvantapaham Tapaham Moham Bodhara Punja Patana Vidhau Ke Sambhavam Shankaram Vande Brahma Kule Kalanka Shamanam Shri Rama Bhupa Priyam. Perhaps some of you recognize this verse. The meaning is, Him who is the very root of the tree, the bliss-giving full moon rising over the sea of Viveka, the sun bringing to blossom the lotus of Vairagya, the dispeller of the massive darkness of sin and the sufferings born of it, the auspicious born wind scattering the heavy clouds of delusion, the emancipator of the line of Brahmanas from the stain brought on it by Ravana. That Rama, the beloved of all, do I adore. It's a very attractive description of the divine teacher, of the avatar. This Moolam Dharmataro, the root, the taru is a tree, right? And the Dharmataru is the tree of Dharma. So the very Moolam, the very root of the tree of Dharma. What is Dharma actually? We use the word a lot. The root from which the word Dharma comes is Dre, which means to support, to uphold. So Dharma, the Dharma is that which supports, that which upholds. It is also the very essence of something, the essential quality of something. So take water. What is the essential quality of water? Well, we can think of a few things. Wetness. One of the essential qualities of water is wetness. Another is that it flows. So the dharma of water, we could say, is to flow and to make things wet and to dissolve things in it. And so what is the very essence, the very core of humanity? What is our dharma? Vedanta tells us the very essence of who we are is divinity, is the divine. The divine is shining deep within us. We are divine in our true nature. So our dharma is to manifest that divinity which is our true nature. So dharma becomes a whole way of life, orienting our entire life, all our actions, all our thoughts, all our words, towards the divine, towards manifesting the divine. So that which leads us towards the divine, towards manifesting the divine, towards purifying our hearts is dharma, is also dharma. And that which takes us away from that would be called adharma. So that's the idea of dharma and adharma, which takes us towards the divine, towards manifesting the divinity within, and that which takes us away from manifesting the divinity within. And then we can see how it varies from person to person. How I will manifest, how I will do that will be different from how you do that. I'm a monk. I will do it through worship and maybe through giving some talks and service. And if you're a mother, you will do it through raising your children. If you're a king, you will do it through justly administering the kingdom. And that was Rama's dharma, of course. He not only is he manifested beautifully that dharma of a king, of a kshatriya, perfect dedication to truth, and he had gone beyond his emotions of, say, when his father was going to make him the king, crown him, he was not elated. He was not all excited, oh my God, finally I get to be king. No. And then when suddenly he was sent to the forest for 14 years, was he dejected? No. Even-mindedness. He had this tremendous, noble even-mindedness. And it's interesting to compare him with his brother Lakshmana, because Lakshmana was a little hot-headed, shall we say. And sometimes there's some situation is arising, and Lakshmana is ready to take out his sword and cut somebody's head off. And Rama says, wait, brother, wait. Let's find out what's going on here. Don't jump to conclusions. So, yes, so Rama, he had mastered his passions. He was a defender of the people, and a destroyer of Rakshasas. So he embodies that kind of servant leadership. But if we take it a step further, we see how is Rama is the root of Dharma, because what is Dharma? Dharma is manifesting our divinity. The divine is Dharma, and Sri Rama is divine. He is the divine incarnation, the avatar. So in that sense, he lies at the very root of what it means to be a human being, to manifest our divinity. And so that's the first image that this verse gives us as the root of the tree of Dharma. Then there's a couple of other beautiful images of the moon and the sun. He's the bliss-giving moon rising above the sea of Viveka. Viveka we translate often as discernment, that practice which we take up in spiritual life of deciding and choosing and discerning what is true, what is not true, what is my dharma, what is not my dharma, how do I manifest the divine, what should I avoid, what is permanent and everlasting, and what is temporary. And when we take it to that final step of what is permanent and everlasting and what is not, we find that everything we look at, everything we touch, we see, we smell, we taste, it's all impermanent. Everything we can experience through our senses comes to an end. And yet, there is something, we intuit it, something which does not change, which does not come to an end. That is our true self, that is the divine. So when we start to do that practice of viveka, the moon of bliss, the full moon of bliss arises, because it brings us tremendous joy, because that viveka brings with it a tremendous joy. How? Well, what follows immediately upon finding that everything has this defect of being impermanent? We're not so much interested in it anymore. Oh, this is going to everything is going to pass away. I want to find that one thing which doesn't change. Then I'm not interested in those things so much. That's called detachment. That's called vairagya. And then he says here, Sri Rama is the vairagyambuja, the lotus of vairagya, bhaskaram, the sun. So as the sun shines, the lotus of vairagya, of detachment, bursts into blossom. So these are some of the beautiful images that these verses give us of the root of the tree of dharma, the full moon of bliss rising over the sea of viveka, and the lotus of vairagya bursting into blossom as the sun of Rama arises. And then he's that mass of sin, hyaghagana, is being dispelled. How does our mass of darkness, the mass of sin, as it were, the bad karma we have accumulated, actually only the avatar can do that. Only the divine can wipe out our karma. No human being can do that. So this is another hint telling us who is Rama, actually. And this beautiful image then of a heaven-born wind, a ke sambhavam, born of heaven, moham bodhara punja patam vidho, ke sambhavam shankaram. This breeze born of heaven that dispels what? It dispels the mass of moha. the mass of delusion. We are confused. We don't see God. We are confused about who we are. We get all caught up in our daily lives and get confused about things, and we make ourselves suffer, and we make others suffer. And Shankara, Rama is the auspicious, the Shankara, the auspicious heaven-born wind which blows away those clouds of delusion, like the wind blows away the clouds that obscure the sun from our sight. So these beautiful images of Sri Rama. And finally, he's the one who cleansed the lineage of the Brahmanas. See, it turns out that Ravana, though he was a Rakshasa and terrible, he was also a Brahmana. So the whole lineage of Brahmanas was stained by Ravana's wickedness. And so he has emancipated, he has freed the line of Brahmanas from that stain of Ravana's wickedness. So it's a beautiful verse. And I thought I might share just a little bit about my introduction to Rama. I was not introduced to Rama by sitting on my grandmother's knee, as many Indian children probably hear first about Rama on grandma's knee or grandma's lap, most likely. Not by reading his life. I didn't see the comic books. I didn't see the movies. None of that. No, how did I first learn of Rama? Just by hearing his name. I was in Boulder, Colorado, and there was a very devout couple. They used to call themselves, or the wife of the couple, she said she was she said ethnic Hindu, because she had been Jewish, but they had fully embraced Hinduism, and they had lived in India and wandered about as kind of holy vagabonds for some time. And the husband had an ektar, a single-stringed instrument which is plucked into the bows, and other wandering minstrels play this ektar. And so I learned about this couple, and they would have little rituals in their homes and little kirtans. And so I was invited, I came, and first they did a little havan right there in their apartment. They had the cow dung and the ghee on the havan, and the ceiling was black with smoke from all the havans they're doing in their little basement apartment in Boulder, Colorado. The windows open. They had very tolerant landlords. And then he started his ektar, and he just started singing, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Like that. Probably started even slower than that. And with the iktar going. And we must have spent an hour just singing that. And gradually we got absorbed into it. And, amazing, we started tasting an ineffable bliss, an ineffable joy. This is a great secret which the devotees of God know, that the name of God brings joy, the name of God is charged with bliss. It contains a tremendous power of attraction within it. And the name of Rama is so simple and sweet. It's just two letters, Ra and Ma. Just two letters. It's just this, we could ask, just this, two letters? Yes, just these two letters contain this tremendous power. So powerful, a powerful mantra repeated by millions of seekers of the divine all over the world, and especially in India, of course. So I didn't know about Rama as the son of Dasharatha and the whole Ramayana story, but I heard his name, and that attracted me very strongly to Rama. As the supreme reality, as the all-loving, infinite Lord. So that was my introduction to Sri Rama. So the idea I had to think about a little today is this idea of as we become centered in the divine, we are home wherever we are. If we are centered in Rama, we are home. And I first thought about how Rama is exiled. We know that most of us probably know the story. Most of you probably know it better than I do, having heard it on your grandmother's lap growing up. He's going to be made the king, and then Kaikeyi gets influenced by the scheming of the jealous maidservant, Manthara, and she cashes in on the boon that she received from her husband, Dasharatha, many years before. And what's the boon? My son has to be made king, not Rama. Rama is Kaushalya's son, but my son, Bharat, has to be made the king. And Rama has to go into exile for 14 years. So, as an aside, this Manthara, she represents we have that in all of us. There's a little bit of Manthara probably in all of us, that warped perception, that jealousy. We see somebody else getting something and we think, oh, I want that. If we have that a little bit, then there's Mantharas right there. That deformed mind that resents the success of others, always trying to gain power by crooked means, selfishness. We see a lot of this, of course, out there. But Rama readily agrees to his father's word. And he is centered in dharma. His father's word must be followed. Truth must be upheld. A father's word is sacred. He has given his word. It must be upheld. So he goes. And see, the interesting also is how Sita and Lakshmana accompany him without any complaint. They simply can't bear to live without Rama. Their lives are fully centered on Rama. And how could they live apart from Rama? So if Rama is going to the forest, they're also going to go. And there in the forest, they find their home. And it's interesting to see, moving really, to see how they don't harbor any bitterness towards Kaikeyi at all. No bitterness, no anger. They simply, eagerly insist on accompanying Rama. And he tries to dissuade them, but they insist. They're going with Rama. And just think, they were living in extreme luxury in the palace. They're the royal family. We've seen the palaces of the royal families in India. Luxury, golden thrones, and luxuries we can't even imagine, even today. But happily, they've donned a clothing made of tree bark and eating simple fruits and roots. And of course, they were hunters, so they weren't vegetarians. But anyhow, they're home in the forest with eating what the forest provides. And then this such a touching scene where Bharata comes to Rama and begs him to return. He doesn't want the throne. He can't possibly be the throne. And Rama says, no, brother, I have to uphold the dharma. I have to uphold truth. And then Bharata says, well, then give me your slippers. And Bharata takes the slippers of Rama and places them on the throne and administers the kingdom, considering that Rama is the true king. Rama's slippers are on the throne. He's just the servant. Just the instrument. So he is a perfect karma yogi in that sense. What a beautiful idea. We take the slippers of Rama, put them in the seat of honor, and everything we do just in his place, as his instrument, as his messenger, as his minister, whatever it may be, however we may envision ourselves. So this is Bharata's beautiful karma yoga. Home is very important for most of us. The idea of having a home, a place of refuge where we have our family, we have shelter, we have food, all our needs are taken care of. And every home, of course, to have a home, there must be a homemaker. We must make our home, actually. It doesn't just happen. We have to make our home by being there, by creating a safe space, which is so essential, especially for children. Especially for children, it's very important to grow up in a safe home. And we are spiritual seekers. For spiritual seekers also, it's important to have a sanctuary. If we can envision our home as not just a place where we sleep and eat, but as our spiritual sanctuary, our place of safety, our refuge. We develop the good vibrations there. We have a little shrine. We do a little worship. We do our meditation there. Even if we live alone, creating this safe space is very helpful in spiritual life and very important for family life, to have a place of refuge. But at the same time, we have to be careful that it can become an obsession, that I can be happy only when I have the perfect home, when I have the right house and everything is perfect there. And I'm thinking of one elderly lady who I know who she has a beautiful little cottage for herself just near the ocean, and it's a beautiful garden and it's perfect for her, perfect site. Everything is beautiful. But there's an airport not so far away, and now and then, not very often, now and then you can hear an airplane going overhead. And when she would get so upset, but the airplanes are going overhead. So she has since learned to accept the airplanes going overhead. Doesn't seem to bother her now, but when she first moved there, she was kind of like, it's so nice, but that fly in the ointment that creeps in. So, of course, this is one stage of things. But Vedanta also asks us to continually expand our conceptions, expand our hearts, expand our boundaries. So we have this, we have our my home, and that's our shelter from this outside world, this city which we live in. But actually, this is my city. When we're talking football, then it's Houston, right? Houston versus Los Angeles. And who's the football team in Houston? Is it Oilers? The Texans. If the Texans are playing against the Chargers, boy, it's my city. But when we go a little further, then it's Texas versus California, isn't it? Texas, go, California. All the good Californians are coming to Texas, right? We heard something like that in the news, that the governors of the two states are battling each other and claiming that each has the best state. So then we say, oh, Texas, right? But then, of course, United States versus the rest of the world. Not the Gulf of Mexico, it's the Gulf of America. America versus the rest of the world. Okay? But Vedanta says that we are not going far enough if we've just expanded our boundaries to our country. We have to expand our boundaries to the whole world. We human beings have just one home in this manifested condition, and that is this earth, this globe. And we carve it up into little pieces, like this is mine and this is mine. And Sri Ramakrishna used to say, God laughs, right? He laughs. He sees two brothers and they're putting a string across their property and saying, this side is mine and that side is yours. Don't you dare cross it. And God is laughing, saying, this whole universe belongs to me. And they're saying that little postage stamp of land belongs to them. So... and yet, of course, this earth is the only home we human beings have, as long as we are human beings. And how tragic it is that we don't take proper care of it. Still, we have to go higher even than this. We have to keep going higher. Yes, we have to take care of our home. Our little home where we raise our family, our home city, our home state, our home country, our home globe. But then we have to recognize that even this is temporary. And our true home is not our place of birth, not my home back in wherever the village where my ancestors came from. No, our true home is where? In Rama, or in the divine. Our true home is in the divine. There's a beautiful song which Sri Ramakrishna loved, which was composed by one of his devotees, the Brahmo singer, Trailokanath Sanyal. He had a pen name also. His poet name was Chiranjeev Sharma. So his songs were sometimes, he is known as the author of the songs, Chiranjeev Sharma. Actually, his given name was Trailokanath Sanyal. And many of his songs actually were inspired by his association with Sri Ramakrishna. So one of those songs, which is one of my favorites, is the song, "Thou art my all in all, O Lord, the life of my life, the essence of essence. In the three worlds I have none else but thee to call my own. Thou art my peace, my joy, my hope. Thou my support, my wealth, my glory. Thou my wisdom and my strength." And then we get the next line. "Thou art my home, my place of rest, my dearest friend, my next of kin." Beautiful song. I've heard it sung many times. There are a few different melodies. The melody I used to hear would be like this. "Na tumi sarvasya amar, tumi sarvasya amar, pranadhar saratsar, nahi toma bine ke hatri bhuvane, bolibar apanar, nath tumi sarvasya amar." And then that line, "Thou art my home. Tumi basagriha aramera sthala atiya bandhu parivar." Like that. "Tumi basagriha," you are my home. You are my place of rest. You are my everything. There's no one else but you. Beautiful hymn expressing this attitude that we gradually grows within us. The more we practice, the deeper we go in our spiritual life, that actually we have no home here. We have no home anywhere. We have one home alone, and that is in the divine. And the divine becomes our all in all. And we have only that place to go for shelter. So the real homemaker then is Rama. The real homemaker is the divine. And if we can place our mind in Rama, then we can be home wherever we go, wherever we are. Sri Ramakrishna often turned to stories of the Ramayana when he would teach his disciples. And the name of Rama, we find, is often on his lips in the gospel. He would often use the name of Rama to clear the air as a kind of invocation. Ram, 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 Ram. Sometimes he would caution people about wicked types of people, and they would get into some discussion of various wrong directions people would go in life. And then he would say, Ram, 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 to clear the air. Cancel what we've been talking about. There's a beautiful, let me share a couple of little readings from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It was afternoon, and many devotees were present in the Master's room. This was on Sunday, October 26, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna, happy child of the Divine Mother that he was, radiated a joy and peace that were reflected in the hearts of his devotees and found expression in their happy faces. They were seated on the floor and had their eyes fixed on the Master, who was standing in a pensive mood like a boy. Sri Ramakrishna says, I see Rama in all things. You are all sitting here, but I see only Rama in each one of you. One of the devotees, Mano Mohan, says, yes, sir. It is Rama who has become everything. But as you say, though all water is Narayana, yet some water is fit for drinking, some for washing the hands and face, and some only for cleaning pots and pans. In other words, Rama may be in all beings, but we may have to keep away from some forms of Rama. the water that's only fit for washing your feet or something. As Sri Ramakrishna says, true, that is true, but I see that it is God himself who has become everything, the universe and its living beings. This expresses the exalted state of Sri Ramakrishna. For him, the divine was always before his eyes. Wherever he looked, he saw only God. Whomever he saw as an embodiment of the divine. So he could feel at home everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. And there's that fascinating incident in his life when he was asked to leave the temple garden. That was when, I believe that was when Hridoy made his transgression and was expelled from the temple garden. And in his anger, Trailokya, the temple manager, he said, let him go. So the officer went to Sri Ramakrishna and said, hey, boss says you have to go. Oh, okay. He grabbed his gamcha, for his towel, threw it over his shoulder, and started walking towards the gate. Just like that. Perfectly at ease. No concern, no worry. Nothing like, what, I've lived here for 15 years and now they're asking me to go. How can they go? Where will I go? Where will I eat? What will I do? Nothing. You just put a towel on the shoulder and happily going. And then, of course, Trailokya saw him heading towards the gate and realized what had happened and what a mistake was being done. And he ran and said, no, sir, we didn't mean that you should have to go. No, please come, please stay. Oh, okay. He turned around and walked back to the room. So amazing. The Ramayana is brimming with beautiful stories, and Sri Ramakrishna would use some of these stories in his teachings. All of these stories are suffused with the presence and the glory of Sri Rama. Two of the very oft-repeated things Sri Ramakrishna would share. One was when Rama asked Hanuman, what do you think of me? Now, we should recall there are probably dozens of different Ramayanas, actually. There's the Valmiki Ramayana and the Tulsidas Ramayana. Those are the two most well-known. There's also one called the Adhyatma Ramayana. And Sri Ramakrishna used to like that one very much. It blends the path of devotion with the path of knowledge. So it takes a very Advaitic approach. So perhaps this quote is from that Ramayana. And there's also a Bengali Ramayana. So he would say that Rama asked Hanuman, Hanuman, what attitude do you cherish toward me when you worship me? And Hanuman replied, sometimes I see that you are the whole and I am a part. Sometimes I see that you are the master and I am your servant. But Rama, when I have the knowledge of reality, then I find that you are I and I am you. So there's a Sanskrit verse which expresses this. Deha buddhya tvadasoham. When I think of myself as a body, deha buddhya, then dasoham, I am your servant. Jiva buddhya tvadangshakaha. When I think of myself as a soul, as a jiva, an individual soul, a spark of light, a spark of the infinite, then I think that I am a part of you. I'm a little bubble in your ocean. But Atma Buddhya, when I understand that I am Atman, when I understand that I am pure consciousness, I am the infinite itself, then Tvamevaham, you and I, same. I am you, you are me. Tvamevaham. Itime nishchita matihi. This is my firm conviction. So this is a mature attitude, actually, for all of us. It's a lovely, a beautiful way to conceive of it. Yes, mostly we are not aware of our true nature as infinite consciousness, one with everything. Okay, we're not, but intellectually at least we can understand it and we can appreciate it. And then, but we can on the one hand, cultivate this dasya bhakti, this idea of serving God, of doing what we do as an offering of service, and at the same time, have this idea that, yes, I am a part of the infinite. The infinite resides in me. I am a part of that infinite reality. And then Sri Ramakrishna also used to quote Hanuman as saying, somebody asked him, well, what's the date? And he said, I don't know the position of the stars or the phase of the moon. I only think of Rama. In illustrating that one-pointed devotion, that centering one's whole life on Rama. Hanumanji was like that, his whole life centered on Rama. And Sita, of course, when Hanuman went to Sri Lanka to look for Sita and he found her, when he came back to Rama, Rama said to him, you have seen Sita. Tell me, how did you find her? This is Sri Ramakrishna telling the story. Hanuman said, O Rama, I saw that only the body of Sita lay there. It held neither her mind nor her soul. She has indeed consecrated her mind and soul to your lotus feet. Therefore, I saw only her body in Lanka. Further, I saw the king of death prowling about. But what could he do? It was only a body. It had neither mind nor soul. See, king of death, Yama, comes. He sees a body. He thinks, somebody has died. I'll come to take their soul, right? But he came, saw the body, but he couldn't find any soul because the soul was merged at Rama's feet. So Sita's soul is merged at Rama's feet. So that is a beautiful illustration of how completely Sita is merged in Rama. Sri Ramakrishna himself had a vision of Sita, and he described this vision. He said, I saw Sita in a vision. I found that her entire mind was concentrated on Rama. She was totally indifferent to everything, her hands, her feet, her clothes, her jewels. It seemed that Rama had filled every bit of her life, and she could not remain alive without Rama. So perhaps a curious or unusual thing about the Ramayana, that though Rama is the great hero of the text, and yet the glory of the story is often not about Rama, or not just about Rama, but about those around him and how they love him, how they worship him, how they hate him. And Sister Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda's disciple, relates this. She writes, I'll tell you a curious thing. When Sadananda, one of Vivekananda's disciples, Swami Sadananda, when Sadananda talks about the Ramayana, I become convinced that Hanuman is really the hero. And when Swami Vivekananda talks of it, Ravana is the central figure. So that's an interesting idea. Hanuman is centered in Rama through Dasya Bhakti, this devotion, this mood of service, devotional service. Sita is centered in Rama through the highest pure one-pointed love of a chaste wife. And Lakshmana is centered in Rama through intense brotherly love, protective brotherly love. So many others are also centered in Rama, from his parents to the devotees, the boatman Guhaka, who waited for him, Shabari, the old lady who waited for decades for Rama to come along the path, and finally he comes. Even the animals are centered in Rama. And Ravana, the great demon, he's also centered in Rama. How? By hating him. He can't stop thinking of Rama. He has to destroy Rama. So, very interesting. There's a fascinating story from the Bengali Ramayana that Vivekananda told. This is Sister Nivedita relating Vivekananda's some hints about Ramayana. First he says, it was Sri Ramakrishna's firm belief that every great incarnation, either in public or in secret, had been a worshipper of Mother. Or how could he have got the energy? He told Nivedita. Shiva and Kali had to be their worships. Rama was called the blue lotus-eyed, and he trusted to Mother to help him to carry off Sita. He had prayed to Mother Durga. But Ravana had prayed to Mother too, and Rama came and found him in her arms. Okay, so Ravana was already in Mother's arms. So he knew that he must do something tremendous, and he vowed 1,001 blue lotuses to her image if she would help him. Lakshmana went off and got the lotuses from the lake Manas Sarovar, and Rama began the great call upon the mother. And this was autumn, which is why in Bengal the Durga Puja is celebrated in autumn. This is not the usual time. It is in memory of that untimely worship, writes Nivedita, that the great mother worship has ever since then been held in September. Now he covered her feet with blue lotuses till 1,000 were offered. And Mother had stolen one. Mother had stolen one of the lotuses. So only 1,000. He had vowed 1,001. And yet 1,000 came, and he didn't have the last one to offer. But Rama was determined. He was not to be beaten. And calling for a knife, he was about to cut out his own eye, that the tale of blue lotuses might be complete. His eye being, because he's the blue lotus-eyed. So he was going to offer his own eye as the last lotus. And that won the mother. And she blessed the great hero, and his arms prevailed in the battle. So that's the story of how Rama propitiated Divine Mother. Let me just remember one important thing about Hanumanji. Hanumanji was tremendously powerful. He was son of Vayu and considered also as an avatar of Shiva. So he's tremendous powers. But as a young boy monkey, he would use these powers to trouble the yogis and the rishis who were doing their meditations and worships and all that. And so they cursed him. What was the curse? That he'll forget his power, so that he can't make so much mischief. He'll forget all that power that he has. So he forgets. So there he is in the Ramayana, and they have to remind him of his strength and his power. So they're looking for Sita, and they learn that she's in Lanka. And who will go? Who will jump? Who will get there? Hanuman can do it, but he doesn't think of it. He doesn't say, I'll go. No, he has to be reminded. Jambavan has to remind him of all the deeds he has done, of all his powerful deeds, that he has the power to do it. And then he remembers, oh yes, I can do it, right? Then taking the name of Rama, he jumps all the way from India to Lanka, jumps at one leap over the ocean. Of course, there's the tremendous, a lot of humor there too. There's the great demoness who says that everyone who crosses there is going to be eaten by her and will enter her mouth. And so he gets big, and she gets big, and he gets bigger, and she gets bigger, and then he gets huge. And she also has those powers, so she also gets huge. Then he shrinks himself to the size of a mosquito, darts into her mouth, and darts back out, says, now I have been in your mouth. Goodbye. And he goes on to Lanka. So he had a tremendous sense of humor, but also these powers. If he gets reminded, and what I like about this is actually we are in the same condition. We forget who we actually are. We have forgotten that we are divine. We have forgotten that we have all that power within us. We are infinite spirit. So we need to be reminded, like Hanumanji. And the votaries of Hanuman, they sing the Hanuman Chalisa to remind him of his power so that he'll then come and protect us and help us and finally bring us to the feet of Rama. Well, probably we should wrap it up. We started late, so I'm going to tell you a couple more stories. One is this very interesting that when Hanuman comes and first finds Sita, but she doesn't trust, is this a good guy or is this a bad guy? Because Ravana has been coming to her in all kinds of different forms to try to seduce her. He wants to make her his wife. And as an aside, this is interesting, some of his friends said, why don't you assume the form of Rama? If you want to get Sita, assume the form of Rama. And according to the story that Sri Ramakrishna tells, Ravana replies, when I contemplate Rama, even the position of Brahma appears insignificant to me, not to speak of the company of another man's wife. How could I take the form of Rama for such a purpose? So it's very interesting that he should answer in that way. But so anyhow, so Hanuman comes and he's trying to, he tells her all about Rama and tries to reassure her. And finally he has the ring, the Rama's signet ring, and he gives her the ring. And then she trusts, her faith is fully restored. And then she also tells Hanuman a secret story that are known only to Rama and Sita. So that when Hanumanji goes back to see Rama, if Rama should mistrust by any chance that Hanuman has actually seen Sita, he tells the story so that Rama also understands, yes, he's actually found Sita and all of that. So it's a very touching story of how Hanuman finds Sita and brings the news back and all of that. All right, let's close with Sri Ramakrishna's famous story of the will of Rama, Ramaricha. He's speaking with the devotees on Sunday, October 26th, still, the same day that we were reading before. And he tells the devotees, God has put you in the world. What can you do about it? Resign yourself, resign everything to him. Surrender yourself at his feet. Then there will be no more confusion. Then you will realize that it is God who does everything. All depends on the will of Rama. And apparently the devotees, or at least one devotee, must have known that there's a story about this. He must have told it on other occasions, because the devotee asks, what is that story about the will of Rama? And Sri Ramakrishna tells a story, a delightful story. In a certain village, there lived a weaver. He was a very pious soul. Everyone trusted him and loved him. He used to sell his goods in the marketplace. When a customer asked him the price of a piece of cloth, the weaver would say, by the will of Rama, the price of the yarn is 1 rupee, and the labor 4 annas. By the will of Rama, the profit is 2 annas. The price of the cloth, by the will of Rama, is 1 rupee and 6 annas. Such was the people's faith in the weaver, that the customer would at once pay the price and take the cloth. Now, we may think that's not such a big deal, but just think India, going to buy something. Do you ever just pay what the shopkeeper asks for? Never. You always bargain. You say, what? That much? Absolutely not. I'm going somewhere else. No, well, we can cut it down a little bit. Okay. So you'd be haggling back and forth. Finally, you settle on a price that both agree, right? That's the way you buy something in India. But not this weaver. The weaver was so pious, he would give everything up front. It cost me this much to buy the yarn. It cost me this much. The labor is this much. I have to have a little profit, so this much profit. That's right. This is what the price is. And so people would say, he's very devout, very honest. They would pay the price and take the cloth. So everyone respected him as a very upright person. The weaver was a real devotee of God. After finishing his supper in the evening, he would spend long hours in the worship hall, meditating on God and chanting his name and glories. Now, late one night, the weaver couldn't get to sleep. He was sitting in the worship hall, smoking now and then. It would have been a hubble bubble, not cigarettes or something. He's smoking his hubble bubble. In those days, smoking was not considered bad. Nobody knew it was so bad for health. So don't look shocked. Smoking now and then. When a band of robbers happened to pass that way, a band of robbers, they wanted a man to carry their goods and said to the weaver, come with us. So saying, they led him off by the hand. After committing a robbery in a house, they put a load of things on the weaver's head, commanding him to carry them. Suddenly, the police arrived and the robbers ran away. But the weaver with his load was arrested. He was kept in the lockup for the night. Next day, he was brought before the magistrate for trial. The villagers learned what had happened and came to court. They said to the magistrate, sir, "Your Honor, this man could never commit a robbery." Thereupon, the magistrate asked the weaver to make his statement. So here's the weaver's statement. The weaver said, "Your Honor, by the will of Rama, I finished my meal at night. Then, by the will of Rama, I was sitting in the worship hall. It was quite late at night by the will of Rama. By the will of Rama, I had been thinking of God and chanting his name and glories. When, by the will of Rama, a band of robbers passed that way. By the will of Rama, they dragged me with him. By the will of Rama, they committed a robbery in a house. And by the will of Rama, they put a load on my head. Just then, by the will of Rama, the police arrived. And by the will of Rama, I was arrested. Then, by the will of Rama, the police kept me in the lockup for the night. And this morning, by the will of Rama, I have been brought before your honor." The magistrate realized that the weaver was a pious man and ordered his release. On his way home, the weaver said to his friends, "By the will of Rama, I have been released." So this is the story of the will of Rama, the beautiful expression of this total surrender to the will of Rama. So whatever happens to this man, he's at peace. All right, the robbers have taken me and I committed a robbery, but it's all by the will of Rama. He had so completely surrendered his own soul at Rama's feet that he couldn't even do anything. So that's not, we have to recognize where we are in our spiritual life. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything, but when we attain to that stage, then everything is the will of Rama, and he's at perfect peace, whether he's in the lockup for the night, or carrying a load of the robbers on his head, or sitting in the temple. So he is someone who is truly centered in Rama and always home. So I'll close with that beautiful chant that we open our Ram Nam with. Om Shri Nathe Janaki Nathe Abheda Paramatmani Tathapi Mama Sarvasva Rama Kamalalochana. I know very well that the Lord of Lakshmi and the Lord of Sita are not separate. They are one in the Supreme Self. Still, my all in all is the lotus-eyed Rama. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna